Hi guys, this is Vishal here from Trapcode. So in this video, we will understand how to export the source code of your web application in Trapcode and then deploy it to any server of your choice. So in this example, we will export the source code of this particular project, which is a template, a loan management system, and then we'll host it on AWS. So we prefer Ubuntu server, but you can deploy wherever you want. So you can deploy it on Google Cloud, Ubuntu, IBM, Azure, wherever you want, right? So it is completely independent. So it will run on a database of its own. It will run on a node application of its own, completely independent of Trapcode, right? So once you export the source code and self-host it, there is no back dependency on Trapcode. So this is an application. Let's go and see it. So you can see the preview of the production environment. So as of now, it is running on loanmanagement.trapcode.io. Let's go and see. So this is the username and password. Let's log in for any user. Okay. So this is a fully functional app which has a dashboard, UI, graph, chart, left menu, login, sign up, right? Now we'll just extract the source code, extract the dump, and then host it on a AWS server, and which will run on our own domain. So let's see how that can be done. So what we'll do, we'll go to the project and go to this option, code export. So if I click this export, I land on a screen like this. So this feature will only come when this feature is enabled for you, right? Otherwise this page will not appear. So now I can go and export the source code. But before exporting the source code, I need the deployment setting, that in which environment my application will get deployed, right? So I'll click deployment settings, and we go and create a deployment setting. This is needed so that we give database password, URLs, install SSL certificate, all those things, right? So in which environment or in which configuration your application will get deployed. So now go and let's create a deployment setting. So it is asking the name. I'll say LMS demo, the URL. So I have a domain of my own where I want to host this application. So we'll need to go and do the domain setting, right? DNS setting. And this is an API domain. So basically Trapcode is a front end and back end both. So there are two applications which are running for you. One is front end, which gives you the UI. Other is the back end, which is REST APIs and the database, right? So we need to map two domains, like typically happens in a REST driven application, right? So for that we need this domain, and for the domain we need a server. So we already have a AWS server which is running on this port, running on this IP. So we'll go. So this is a blank server. It's freshly created. There's nothing installed. So let's say I say which node, nothing, which Nginx, thing, which npm, nothing, right? So as of now, nothing is installed. It's a fresh server. So we'll do the setup. Now I know the IP of this server, so I'll just go and copy the IP and create a domain mapping for this so that it starts redirecting the traffic to this particular server. So I have a Namecheap account, and we have this domain called trapcode.co.uk. So let's go and then run it application on here. So I'll create two A records. One is let's call it LMS, and I point to the IP address of my server. LMS with loan management system. And I'll create one more A record, which is for the API. So I'll call it LMS API and point to the same server IP, right? So now a domain record is created, DNS record. So this will basically redirect all the traffic coming on lms.trapcode.co.uk to our application, right? Now let's go and put this in the deployment settings. So the domain is lms.trapcode.co.uk. You can use whatever domain you want to use. LMS api.trapcode.co.uk. After that, it will ask for MongoDB username, password, port. So we are doing a fresh setup. We will not give the username, password, but let's say if you have a MongoDB install and you want to give the URL, the host, port, and so you can give it here. Same for another. So we use two MongoDBs. One is for the configuration, which is as part of your application, and second, this is for the data, the actual database which resides in a database, right? So these two configuration you have to give. Sometime it can happen that the configuration is running separately from your actual data, production data. And this is advanced setting if you want to give favicon URL, logo URL. So we'll leave all these things as blank. So this is good enough for us. Okay, I'll say LMS demo. Okay. So a deployment setting got created. Now let's go back to code export page. I'll export do a code export. For that I'll need to choose deployment settings. So I'll choose LMS demo, so that when my installable file or the source code will come out, it will have these settings in it. LMS. Okay. Export the source code. So it is sent a request to generate a code. It is creating. This typically gets ready within a few seconds, or let's say in a minute. I'll just reload the page. So the code is ready to be exported. So I'll just click export. Okay. So it is a zip file. It is giving me some name. I'll make it LMS UK code. Now we need the database, right? Because as of now, if we go and install this application, it will run, but it will not have any data because we have not exported the database, right? Not the configuration, but the actual items, actual records, right? So I'll go to database export. Now let's go export dump. So I'll give this name export. So this is also exporting. So it is, this also gets ready in few seconds. It's ready to be downloaded. Just download. So LMS okay dump. So this is also downloaded. So now we have the code, source code downloaded, the database downloaded. Now let's push this or copy this from our local machine to the server, right? So for that I'll use scp command. You can use putty or whatever client you want to copy from your local machine to your server. So I'll go to my machine, go to my downloads folder because it got downloaded in downloads folder. So it's scp. I'll just copy the command, basically the IP, the file name, which is LMS UK code IP root. So I'm copying my code. Okay, the source code is uploaded. Let's go and see here. So the code file is here. Now let's store the dump also. So same thing. I think the only name thing is different is the name of the file, which is I think dump. Yes. So restoring the dump also. So now both of these things are here. So we have the code, we have the backup or the database now, right? Now let's go and install this. So to extract this file, we need unzip. So I'll just go and install unzip. Sudo apt-get apt-get unzip. Okay. Now I will just extract the code. So I'll say unzip LMS UK code. So this has extracted all the code files here, right? All this is the source code of your web application. Now let's go inside the folder. It's loan management system. So we need this URL on which location this code is extracted. So for that we'll use the command pwd, which is basically current working directory command. So I'll just copy this because this we will need in a few seconds. So I'll just copy this. This is most important thing. Okay, now you see there are two scripts. One is setup.sh, one is dump restore.sh. So setup.sh is everything to set up your application. Dump restore.sh is to restore your dump, right? So these are not executable by default. So just make it executable. So I'll say chmod a plus x setup.sh, same thing. Dump restore.sh. Now let's run this command, setup.sh. Okay, it is asking for the Redis password. I'll give admin. Enter the path of the main project folder. So this is the path which we just copied with the pwd command. Enter the domain on which application will run. So our is lms.trapco.co.uk. Right, this is the domain which we have mapped. For the API, it's lmsapi.trapco.co.uk. So this will take a few minutes because it will install a lot of things because we are doing it for the first time. After that, it will not take this much time, but few minutes it will take definitely to install the database, the Nginx, the node, npm, Redis, update the system, a lot of things, right? Installing the SSL certificate and all. So now it is installing the SSL certificate. So it has asked me to give an email so that it generates SSL certificate for me. So I've given my email and just selected yes for the couple of options. So you see it is requesting a certificate for LMS API. Same, it has requested a certificate of lms.trapco.co.uk, right? So now it has basically installed the MongoDB, the node, PM2, npm, whatever is needed to run the application, and now it is restarting the application. So it is doing a build. Can you see making build? So it is basically it will run the backend and it will run the front end, and the application will come live on the domain which we have mapped. After that, we'll restore the dump so that the data also comes, and then we'll try to log in with the same users which we tried in the template. So the installation is done, and then you can see it is showing setup completed successfully. Now let's go and see that whether the application is running or not. Okay, so I'll just open a new tab. I'll say lms.trapco.co.uk. So this should open the application, right? Because okay, nice. So the application is live. It is running on my domain which I mapped, and I can see everything here, right? But it will not bring any data because we have not yet restored the database, right? So if I go to login, if I try to log in with the given username and password, which should be there because we got it from the dump, but the dump is not stored, so it is saying user does not exist. So now let's go and restore the dump. To restore the dump, what we need to do, previously we downloaded the dump and changed the name. So you should not change the name because you will be doing only for the one time, and then we take the name of that dump file to restore. So when I was exporting the dump in the beginning, I gave it the name LMS UK. Instead of giving LMS UK, just export it as it is. Okay. So the dump is here. I'll just take this one. I reload the page and I download the dump. Okay. I'll not change the name. Okay, so this is a mistake which I did previously. So you make sure don't change the name. Now let's go and restore this dump. So I go back. So we have uploaded the dump using scp command. So instead of lms dump something, I'll just change it to project_k. So this is the name of the dump file. So you make sure that you only upload the file with the actual name. Now let's come back here. Let's see if the file is here. So the file is here. So now I'll just restore the dump. So we have this script in the folder to restore the dump. So we can go and check. So let's go to loan management system. There's a file called dump restore. So you need to just run this file. Okay. And let's see what happens. So I'll say dump restore. Name of the folder in which dump file is. It is in home Ubuntu. So you basically need the file of that path of the zip file where the dump is stored. So it found the file. I'll just say 1. So it has extracted and then completed the dump. So it just restored everything. Okay. Now let's go and see whether this is working. So I go back. So previously we were here. So we are not able to log in because the user didn't exist. Now just hit login. So now the login works successfully because we are able to restore the dump. All the data is here, the charts are getting created, and we are able to log in. So now the application is restored and the dump is also restored. So let's try with someone else. So the super admin login. So login successful. I am able to log in. So now this application is running perfectly fine without any dependency on trap code, with a code base of its own, backend, front end, and the complete database of its own. Now you can just host it wherever you want. So this is how you are able to export the source code and just store it on your own public private cloud. Hope you enjoyed the video. See you in the next video. Bye bye.